or with ferns in particular. When you see ferns coming out before they blossom properly, you can see them spiraling. It's amazing to see. So that's creation at its finest for me. And ferns in particular, they're one of the oldest plants on this planet. So they're very, very special. So this is where they've got these ideas from. So as I mentioned, the order out of chaos, the 33 degrees. It's the gematria that I want to focus on more than anything with this one. The 777, as I said before, it's the middle pillar. It brings balance, it brings harmony. So you'll notice with Freemasonry symbolism, a lot of the time the keystone will have a 6-9 on. Again, the 6-9 of balance, that keystone brings balance to the structure. That's what it's about, to bring balance to the arch. And again, we've got the 105, the great architect. The 96, well, I don't know if I want to break that open too much, because if any of you got copies of the book there, I really break that number open, so I don't really want to spoil the book for you, but it's all to do with obviously the energy. And the 1332, that's 606 coming together, 666, sorry, coming together times the 2, and then the 735 in particular is Mona's numbers. Mona's dimensions is 77 times 53 centimetres. Now these 735, 753, all permutations always come to light. And one good example of it was Rome, when Rome was first founded in 753. These numbers will start to play out more and more. Now the 288, I wanted that there in particular is because Mona Lisa weighs 288 ounces. Now I know for a fact that that's not coincidence with Da Vinci. He would have done that absolutely perfect. And it's because the Giza, with Giza and the cubic dimensions, it comes up at 2,880. So then if you look at the Taj Mahal as well, Taj Mahal is 240 feet in height, which transfers to 2,880 centimetres. So the Taj Mahal is a perfect one to look at it to see what they've done. The Taj Mahal has 4 minarets as well, 137 feet in height. 137 is the 33rd prime number, and it's the golden angle of light, more important. So these minarets, or the menorah maybe, same thing, emanations of light. So the Taj Mahal is perfectly set up for it. But it seems to be kind of a continuation of Giza. So an ancient name for Giza was Rose Tau, or Ross Tau, the Rose Cross. That's the ancient name for Giza, is actually Rose Cross. The ancient name for the Taj Mahal is Rosa, or Rossa. Again, it's rose, it's the same thing. But what they both actually mean, they both mean tomb or cemetery. So Ross Tau, or Giza, what it was, it's the tomb of Osiris, and it plays in this story. Of course, Osiris is the sunrise, we've got sunset with Seth. That's the battle that they have every day. We've got Horus on the horizon, hours of the day kind of things. That's how they've created this story. So I just wanted to include this number because, as I said before, 4081, it's Mona's dimensions. You know, it's one of the most important, well, it is the most important number actually. It's the most important number to all my research. As soon as I got that, I started breaking everything open. For instance, William St. Clair, founder of Rosslyn Chapel, he died in 1484. It's the exact same year that Christie and Rosencrantz were supposed to have died. So you could probably guess them as the same person, possibly. Both got in the same year. This Rosicrucian taking form with the rose and Rosslyn and everything else, it's got its roots, and it's not from here. St. Clair's what they were with the Norsemen. So to find the roots, you've got to go over to those Scandinavian countries and look for it. And it's from Rosslagen. Now Rosslagen is a place in Sweden. Sweden is the most important country over there in my research, aside from Norway, obviously with the Norsemen. But with Rosslagen over there, this is where the name comes from. Now, the Ross people gave their name to the Rus people, which is Russia. Russia was originally spelt as Rossia. It was the rose, that's what Russia is. So when we're seeing this playing out now with Russia and Ukraine, you're seeing the things starting to play out through the cycles again. Now that war breaking out, I don't know if any of you, anybody else looked into this beforehand. There was a lot of people who predicted that war breaking out at that exact moment, and they would never have been able to get it right. But the reason they got it right is because they knew that Pluto was coming back into alignment. And I hadn't done it. The last time I'd done it was the Independent War of America, 1776. That was the last time Pluto had aligned properly. So then it's just come back into alignment last year, and on the exact day that Pluto aligned, the war started. On the 55th day of the year, Putin announced his invasion at 5:55 a.m. and it was on the same day that the sun set in Moscow at 5:55 p.m. So that 555 is the heart, is what they're targeting, it's the colour green. So Genesis and the story of the creation with the Egyptians is where it started to learn Mona's true coding, what it is. So of course, we have the few Isle of Monas in Great Britain. We've got Anglesey, as known as the Isle of Mona. Or my home one is the Isle of Man, is the Isle of Mona. Or we were just over yesterday, we went over to Inchcolm Island, got the boat over there, and it was once known as Mona. And it's because it's a little mound, it's exactly what it is. So Mona's the mound, that's what Da Vinci's trying to show. Mona is Earth, she's Mother Earth, she's Mother Nature. This is what he's showing through it. He's showing the mound coming from the primordial waters. That's where it's come from. So this is where our mountain ranges and everything come from as well. So obviously when the Earth's crust and that's colliding, that creation, it's pushing the rock up. That's what happens. They come together and they push the rock up, and it creates these mountain ranges. So these have been getting formed, and they've been getting bigger and bigger over time, and new mountains will be formed long after we're gone, and so on and so forth. That's the true story of creation. So in these rock formations as well, is the crystallines, the crystal structures. So if you go to places like Anglesey, for example, it's packed full of quartz. All this type of stuff is where they've got the information from, is by looking at the primordial story of creation, actually narrowing it down, not complicating it. Like I was trying to say to people, that don't complicate it for yourself. Just make it as simple as you possibly can, because you can get answers from the simple aspects of it. It's just all about your perception and your understanding. And sometimes you just need to alter it and just look from a different angle. So the primordial nuclide, let's go back to this one a minute. With the mound coming up, it's coming from the primordial waters of new. The primordial waters of the nuclides is what they're saying. It's new, an atom. It's the nuclides and the atoms. So how have the Egyptians managed to do that all that time ago? How have they brought that story together to be able to give us that? It's just unreal. So the primordial nuclides are the particles that were there before Earth formed. So what's responsible for forming us then, it would be, they're all playing a part still now. Now there's 288 known nuclides, which is why the 288 number in Da Vinci's coding of the Mona Lisa is very important, because he's bringing it right the way back down to creation. And Giza and that is exactly the same thing. It's all about this. So that story in Giza where you're seeing the pyramids coming through, they're coming up, they're creating the mound, they're creating the mountain or the pyramid. This is what they're creating. It's the nuclides that come, it's atom rising. So this is new. This is the water, the primordial waters, or the abyss, the chaos. Again, we talk about order out of chaos in 777. This is where it's coming from. It's the primordial waters, the primordial story of creation. Now the Ben stone, when I really started to look at this and I started to realise that Scotland were holding keys to it, and I was thinking, why is Scotland always drawing me back, to bring me back and come find me research there, come and get the answers. So what's the Gaelic word for mountain? Anybody? Scottish people? Ben stone, it's exactly the same. So the Welsh did it as well. They called the head of the mountains the pen. It was the pen and the ben. The Ben stone, or the Geordies call the babies Bairns. It's Ben. It's the same thing. It is creation. So Scotland have got some real deep links. And when you look around at all the Egyptian symbolism and everything else, you start to make you wonder. Now, I know when I'm looking at the Templars, what I start to think is that they've learned the knowledge from the Egyptians and things like this, from who knows, the Emerald Tablet or anything else. Where they've got the knowledge from, God only knows, but they brought it with them and they've used it to this day. So of course you've got your Ben Nevis and everything else. So these are your mountain ranges, and this is Mona. This is what she is. It's what she's showing you. Now the thing with Da Vinci, or with all artists, or Freemasonry in general, all these secret societies, everything's in your face. It's always staring you in the face. It's always there. It's just up to you how you perceive it. This is the clever thing about it. It's what makes it so special. It can mean something entirely different to somebody else. You know, it's up to us how we perceive it. So Da Vinci was showing us, they're all there, they're in the background, all the mountains are there. And she just stood there just smiling with a little androgynous face of male and female just smiling away. So it's the mounds, the mountains, Marilyn Monroe, you know, well be familiar with. So you have the Marilyns and Monroes here, that's what you have in Scotland, that's what it is. And Mero is no different, and it's exactly what Mona is. It's why the Isle of Man is known as the Isle of Mona, it's because the Isle of Mountains. You see, go around all the TT courses on the mountain range and everything else, it's the Isle of Mona. So it's what Da Vinci's trying to give us. He's trying to give us that story of creation. So I started my journey with me travelling. So what I've been doing is I've not stopped travelling now for about 2 years. I've been travelling non-stop, just getting all the information that I possibly could, and just letting everything flow naturally. I weren't really sure what I was doing from the very beginning, if I'm honest. I was just letting my legs take me and just go with it. So I started here in 2021. We started on May the 4th with Becca, me and Becca. Becca drove down from Scotland and she come to meet me down in Anglesey. So what I didn't know at the time, I only found this out a few weeks ago, it was actually Mona's Day in Sweden. It's Mona's name day, it's May the 4th. So where we met in Anglesey was the Isle of Mona, of course. So the synchronicities that played out for me and Becca at that time were crazy. There were so many patterns that were playing out, and we were just like, well, we didn't really understand it ourselves. Now we weren't up to this level of understanding where we are now. So we were just like really excited by all these synchronicities playing out, and we were on the Isle of Mona and things. It was cool. So that's where my journey started, and it's led me up to this point. So that's where my travelling started anyway. My actual journey on this path was 2020. So what I've been over to the Isle of Man. I wish I was still there now, to be honest with you. I'm glad I'm here with you. Don't take that the wrong way. But that's where I want to settle. I love this island. It's home to me. So my family come from the Isle of Man. My great-grandma was Florence Gavine. She died age 44, so that coding will come up again later on. But with my family, they come from Castle Rushen. They come from Castletown, and they were harbour masters of Castle Rushen. Castle Rushen was also spelled Castle Rosie and Rosslyn, R-O-S-I-E-N. So that's what it was. And then in 1313, Robert de Bruce went over to take the castle. So 1313, some of you might already know, is the year that the Rosicrucians backdate their foundations to, is the year 1313. Same year that Robert de Bruce came and landed on the island. So of course the Isle of Man is very special. So it's 33-mile long island. When I was over there, I made sure I went to visit the Masons over on the at the Lodge of Mona. So one of the numbers that come up, the reason I went over to the Isle of Man is because it's the only place that has a 4:44 a.m. summer solstice sunrise. It has it for 11 days, it has a 4:44 a.m. So I go over there and make sure I was there. Michael comes to join me this time, and Marie as well. So yeah, that's why I go there. So the Lodge of Mona is at 44 Castletown, Victoria Street in Castletown. So they know this construct. But the construct is, I don't know why I got this whiteboard, because I completely forgot about it. But it's the MM, it's the 1313, or 4. People often say, they go on about 33, the most sacred number in Freemasonry and everything else. No, it is, of course, it's an important number, but if it was the most sacred number in Freemasonry, I'm not sure you'd know about it very much, or understand it. That's the whole point. So this is where it comes down to the 1313, you break down to that cube number. So Michael explained before with the cells of the cube, and it equals the 44 and the 444, or the central pillar of it was 4446. So this is Mona's cube. This is exactly why this is here. So with the Isle of Man is different than the rest of the countries that surround it, from Ireland and everything else. It's because the Isle of Man is supposed to have travelled down. It's never not supposed to have been there at one time, it's supposed to have travelled down. It's a floating island kind of thing. So it's a powerful one as well. So with it being what it is, you have these Telora currents coming up in the Isle of Man. So it's a very special place, and obviously it's a lot of important people try to base themselves there. It's also a tax haven, and they have a lot of links with Switzerland as well. If you go over to the Isle of Man, you have places like Little Switzerland, and this is because of the Templars. So of course Switzerland was founded in the year after the Templars was drove out of France, was when Switzerland was founded. So yeah, so the Isle of Man was important to me, and with the Isle of Man you also have the 777 with the 3 legs, it's the equilibrium, and they have the 3 stars, which are our 3 North Stars, our 3 Pole Stars that we alternate between. So you have Polaris, Vega and Thuban. So at the time the Egyptians, Thuban was in control. That was what was governing the stars at that time. Obviously now we're Polaris. Next one will be Vega, or Arthur's Harp.
Can I ask why you're using that symbol? So just
which symbol?
It seemed to Michael that symbol in terms of the Anahata Karanam, in terms of
oh right, yeah, it's the cube,
it's on your t-shirt.
It's the cube,
I was taking photographs at 2
So it is the cube, like you just said. It's
the postman was drawn at the line this morning. It's mad.
Yeah. So if we joined all this up, it would create the cube. That's what they're giving us with that. Yeah.
That's what
I lived in Sicily for a number of years.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the same thing.
Marie's family are from Sicily, yeah. So it's because of the Viking links and that when they all landed over there. So you have these clues in places like Mallorca, when you've got Orca, same as the Orkneys, then clues are still there.
And that is a massive Templar area.
Oh yeah, well I've got a little bit about that on this. what was you going to say, sorry, sir?
Why are you using that symbol on that slide? What's the context?
This is the Isle of Man, it's the Isle of Mona, so the Lodge of Mona. So this is North Barrule, the Lodge of Mona, and this is Castle Mona, found in 1804, same numbers of Mona's 4081. So the relevance of that is just because it's the Isle of Man, that's what it is, yeah. So
thank you.
I was just showing our flag was over, just sharing.
No,
Well, because it does create that cube though, because it's that 777. So Saturn's cube is 777. That's the important thing, is Saturn, very important. So these are just different variations for Mona of what it means in different countries. Which the Old English one obviously is moon. Da Vinci used it as well. It was supposed to be M-O-N-N-A actually, which is My Lady Mona or the Madonna, but it's all just the same. It's the Sacred Feminine. It's that Sacred Feminine that's been obviously been trying to hold down for a very long time. So these are the different meanings for Mona, and I've been watching these appear in all kinds of different decodes. So right now we're seeing a big event taking place in Hawaii, and it's taking place in Maui. So some of you might have seen the movie Moana that's based in there, and it's all about the Mother Nature and creation and everything else. It's all taking form again right now. So the most natural form of creation, the real mound, the baby bump, it's the most natural mound that we're actually aware of, isn't it? So with Mona, you've got the mother, the matrix. Now this is important to understand, is what the matrix actually is when we're talking about the matrix. It's the material world, and what gives birth to matter is female. So that's why it's important, is with Mona. So of course, this story will play out with Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Maid Marian, Marilyn Monroe, the Master Mason and so on, and it always takes form like this. But again, it's up to the individual of how they perceive it. So yeah, so that's the most natural mound that we can actually take a look at. Now this is Silby Hill. So this is why I say Silby Hill just makes so much more sense when it is actually a hill. Now I don't actually think it was supposed to be like the Silby Hill. They say it's a step pyramid. But I'm just looking at it, and I'm looking at places around Avebury, and it all seems to be based on this feminine energy. I'm just thinking, no, it's too much for me. Like, I look for these patterns, so I'm wondering. So yeah.
Paps in Scotland, eh?
Sorry.
That's why we call them Paps in Scotland.
Oh right, yeah. So yeah, just yesterday I just got a chance to visit here and visit Mona in Scotland. So I was over there yesterday. Some of you will know Chris Kenosis already. He does the tours and that here. So Chris got in touch with me a couple of weeks back after Maureen at the chapel had mentioned me talk, and obviously we invited Chris over to come in before he'd enjoy it. And so we went over to Inchcolm yesterday and just randomly bumped into Chris there, as you do, because these synchronicities like to play out like this. The first day that we actually landed in Edinburgh a couple of days ago, I bumped into the Master Masons. The first thing that I seen when I get into Edinburgh was the Master Masons give me the tour around the Ground Lodge. And straight away, as soon as I'm back in Edinburgh, the synchronicities start playing. So this is, as I was saying about the Isle of Mona, so these mounds that you see just off the coast in Edinburgh and things, these little mounds, these are little Monas basically, there's little variants of Monas. But on a big scale, the real Mona is of course the land mass of Earth. It's on a bigger scale, that's the real Mona. So Mona is Gaia, she is the mother, she is the sacred feminine, that's what she represents. So these pylons run along. So Cramond, so the clue again is Cramond, it's Cramond, it's the mound of creation. So these pylons, exactly the same pylons that you see here, these are the pylons, but it's because it's natural. So like I said, they're taken from Meru, Mount Meru. And Meru is the natural formation of the rock strata. Now this is something important, what Da Vinci's really coded in the Mona Lisa, I just put the nail in the coffin for me, is the name Lisa. It's the anagram of Lias, or Lias, and that's the rock formations, rock strata. It's exactly what it is. So he's given us the key to it. He's put it in her name. So whether Lisa Gherardini was actually a real individual or not is another matter. There's obviously they have a lot of history and say she had children and everything else. Her coding is well too perfect. But then so is a lot of other people that have decoded personally, as some of you will know. So North Berwick Law, we were on the boat, and I've been looking at this every time I've been in Edinburgh and didn't know what it was, so we took the chance to ask the tour guide yesterday on the boat and said, what is that? pyramid-looking structure out in the distance that I keep seeing, and he's explained it was North Berwick law. So again, what they're giving us is the mound. This gateway arch, it's part of the Vesica symbol. So if there was another half to that, they're creating a Vesica. So what they've created is a gateway. You've got a gateway, a portal, and that's exactly what that is there. Them two pillar symbolism there with the arch. You've got a portal, or a gateway, or a lens. In terms of the Vesica, it's a lens of light and emanation. So this is the monad, the union of opposites. So this is a symbol that was created by John Dee. But obviously he's took a lot of his knowledge that he's applied from all different cultures and everything else and put it together into one. So this is the monad. It's what Mona represents as that metaphysical. It's what she is. She's a creator. She's a mother. She's she's androgynous. This is where we start anyway with the sun symbol, just the dots. So that's no different to the Bindu in the Sri Ansa chakra. It's the beginning of creation. So John Dee, he come just a little bit after Da Vinci. It wasn't too much later after Da Vinci. Da Vinci only died in 1519. So there's a lot of the Rosicrucian stuff would probably stem from this type of thing. With John Dee and others like him, they were trying to give things in a outspoken kind of way. It was in your face, and it was for the people who wanted to seek that knowledge. But again, at this time, even people like Da Vinci and that, they had to code these things. It was because they'd be killed for it, they'd be jailed for it, they'd be whatever. They wouldn't be living a nice life if people knew that they were up to this kind of thing. So there's the monad, it's the circled dot, it's the metaphysical or the absolute. So when we're talking of the metaphysical, and you have the Metatronic cube, it is that meta. So meta is the prefix for it, of the physical. So the meta or the matter. So Metatron is also spelled as Matatron. It's a double way of spelling it. So where they put Metatron as Enoch, and it's a male storyline. It doesn't make any sense when you look at mater, maternal. It's Metatron. It's material. That's what it is. It's the material aspect of the cube. So then on the 10th of August, we just landed in Edinburgh, and I noticed Debbie had posted a picture from Clay Hill, and the monad had just appeared in Clay Hill. So of course people are talking about the sun symbol. So when this landed on the day I just come to Edinburgh to do my talk, I was over the moon to be seeing it. So the last time something similar and synchronised pattern started to play out is when me, Michael and Marie went to visit the Isle of Man, and down in Wiltshire, a Triskelion crop circle appeared on the very day that we all met up in the Isle of Man. So those synchronicities were playing out, so me and Marie went down and we made sure we went to visit that one in particular. So yeah, that just appeared 2 days ago over on Clay Hill in Wiltshire. The monad, the metaphysical. The divine elements. Now this is where I was talking about with the fractal expansion and how creation really works. It comes from that monad, from that centre point. Is the one cell. So this is mitosis. It's fractal expansion. It's cells dividing. So that is that 0, 0, 1, 2. Same from the golden ratio, same from the mitosis in the cell. So of course we've got the Vesica being created. So the Vesica Pisces is very, very important to Mona's coding. It is creating that gateway. So with the Vesica, you just have the same setup again. You've got one pillar, two pillar, and the middle pillar with the balanced equilibrium. So that equilibrium creates a balance to produce the light to emanate through the lens. So obviously then the cells carry on coming together, and we go from the 2 to the 4 to the 8 to the 16 and so on. So this again, it's all fractal expansion of how our family tree works. It's how creation works. That's it. It's really simple when you start breaking it down in this way. This is where geometry is taking form. It's because all they've had to do is look up at the sky and you can clearly see the sun disk, you can clearly see the disk of the moon and so on and so forth. So when they were practicing things like geometry and everything else and really bringing it together, it was all based on earth measure, it was based on the measure of the stars and the cosmos, and that's where they started to bring it all and understand it. So another level of it then is we've got the same exact system works in computers. So the exact same thing is going on in the computer system as you go through this and you go to the 64 of the cube that's being built over in Saudi Arabia now. The 256 creates the RGB of divine light. So the RGB is red, green and blue, and that's the divine light codes. Equal amounts, they create grey light. So grey light is the grail. The word for grey at that time was grey, as in G-R-A-I. So all they've done is added the L onto the end, and it's the holy light, which is Sancto Claro. They are the holy light. That's why they're the protectors of the Grail. It's because they protect the Grail light. They protect this coding. This is what they've done. This coding is all down there. It's all in the chapel, staring us in the face.